Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Hangout. We are now live. Let's see. Let's make sure that everybody can get on live here. Oops. So I'm just reminding everybody on the page here to refresh the page so that you can get on the live feed. If you can hear the live feed now, please write. Let's write aloha in the comment section on the page on Facebook. So if you're hearing my live feed now, because several of you are listening to the replay, but that's from last night. So if you can listen to my live feed, or if you can hear my voice now, type in aloha. Let's see how many alohas we get. Well, we got a lot of you, a lot of people on. Very cool. So I just want to try to make sure that as many people as possible are on the live feed. So bear with me for just a moment. I am feverishly at work here. I should have hired some elves to do this. I didn't anticipate this issue with a lot of people clicking on the play button, thinking that they were going live, but it's actually the replay. So let me try to get as many people on here as we can. All right, let's see how many alohas we can find, we can get. All right, so if you're hearing me, there you go. There's some alohas. We've got Candace and Carthage, Pam, Julie, Courtney from Orlando, Renata from Charlotte, Rue, Joy from Castle Rock, Brooke. Yes, I can see your posts, Brooke, and I assume you can hear me. Beth, aloha from Tulsa. Lily from Fayetteville. Gina, Pulaski, Tennessee. Oh, it's good to see all these people on and all the places from all over the country that you guys are. So welcome everyone to tonight's version of magnetic recruiting. Obviously, this is a hot topic in Mary Kay. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many people on. And let me see if I can get back on the, hang on one sec again, because I've been trying to call in. There are a few people trying to call in. And this phone number is just not working. So looks like our call in is just not going to happen tonight. That's a bummer. I'm going to try one more time. Something's going wrong with the phone lines, it looks like. All right. Well, that's cool. That means I don't have to do a simulcast today. I can take the earbud out and just do this live webinar. So obviously you can tell we're live here. Otherwise, it would probably be going a lot smoother right now as we deal with the technology. But let's get rolling. So I'm going to change my slides here. And let's see. So you should see my slides show up in just a moment. Entire screen. All right. Hopefully you can see my slides now. If you can see my slides, please type in slides. I'm getting very creative here with the feedback that I'm requesting. Please type in slides if you can see my slides. Okay, so Courtney said she's on the phone also. I'm not able to get on the phone. So Courtney, obviously you were able to get on the phone, and for some reason, I'm not able to get on the phone. But you guys should be able to see my webinar slides. You just want to make sure that everybody can see this so I don't go through the whole presentation and then realize later that people couldn't see the slides. So let's see. Can you see the slides? On my end, aloha, I'm on the phone also. I don't see anybody that's typed in slides yet. So there you go, slides. Okay, cool. All right. Well, here we go, everyone. Let's get started. Tonight's webinar is on magnetic recruiting. We're going to talk about easily and effortlessly attracting the right prospects into your Mary Kay business. This is a Mary Kay only call. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Sean Smith. I've been coaching in the Mary Kay world for many years, 9, 10 years now or so. And I love you guys. I love the company. I love what it stands for. I love the opportunity. And I also love helping people get more out of themselves, out of their lives, out of their business. So on tonight's webinar, we are going to talk about 5 main things: the biggest recruiting mistakes that people make, the most important internal shift you must make in order to change your results in recruiting, the 5 characteristics of the world's best recruiters, overcoming objections easily and unconsciously, and finally, we're going to talk about identifying and attracting your ideal prospects. So the way this is going to work is we're going to be going for about 45 to 50 minutes. I will then open it up for Q&A. I don't suggest you take notes of information. You'll be able to watch the slides later. You'll be able to watch the recording later. I do suggest you take notes of inspiration, and I'll let you know how we can go deeper later on. And this is what I also want to do tonight. I want you to share your ahas on the Facebook page, because actually, you know what? I don't know that I made this post. So hang on one sec. Let me go into my internet and let me make this post. Okay, so you can probably see my screen here. I just posted on my Pink Caddy Coach fan page, change the game. What are your ahas from tonight's webinar? Please share below. So what I want you to do is, when you have a big aha, when you have something that I said or that you thought about that is really hitting home for you, go on that page and comment on that one particular post, and then use this hashtag change the game, hashtag change the game. And what that'll do is it'll just create a little bit of a conversation, a little bit of a buzz, and we'll be able to see everybody's comments, etc. So it's a way for us to join the conversation on social media, hashtag change the game. So let's start with talking about why recruiting is such an important topic in the first place. You know, a lot of people honestly struggle with recruiting, and it doesn't have to be that way, right? But here's an aha that I had last night as I was talking, as I did this presentation last night. The aha that I had is that too many people have goals in Mary Kay that require them to grow their team, yet they don't love recruiting. So I want you to really understand the conflict here. Too many people. So if you have goals in Mary Kay that require you to get more people on your team, but you don't love recruiting, there's an energetic conflict there. And if you don't clear that energetic conflict, you can't win. You can't win. Even if you push through it and do the things that are required to recruit, your effort, your energy is going to duplicate. So if you have any level of irritation on recruiting, if you don't like it, if you don't love it, if you're scared of it, that's going to duplicate. So I want you to really understand the problem we have here. If you don't love recruiting, you can't adequately achieve your goals in Mary Kay, the ones that require you to grow your team. And most of the goals that most people have that I know in Mary Kay require your team to grow. You want to become a director. You want to get into the Cadillac. You want to become a national. They require you to grow your team. Not only that, they require you to grow your team with people who are going to grow their team. So your energy is going to duplicate. If you don't love recruiting, that's going to duplicate. And you can't just toe dip your way and push through it. You know, listen, recruiting should not be a necessary evil that you have to do. Recruiting should not be this thing that you have to push through just so you can achieve a certain goal, so you can cross a certain line. If that's the energy that you have around recruiting, you're going to lose. You can't win. Even if you build a business, you're going to build a business on the foundation of negativity, on the foundation of irritation, on the foundation of conflict between your goals and how you approach recruiting. So you have to change your energy around recruiting if you want your goals in Mary Kay. I don't want you to be the kind of person that has to cope with your fears around recruiting, and yet you still want to be a director, or you want to be a national, or you want to get into Cadillac, or you want to go on the trip, or you want to get whatever goals you want to get. You have to love the journey. If you don't love the journey, you lose. Even if you win, you lose. Because who wants to go on a journey that you don't like every step of the way anyway? That's not fun. So I want you to have fun. And the best way to have fun in this business is to change your relationship with recruiting. Get to the point where you actually love it. And it is possible. So let's start with the biggest mistakes that people make. The biggest mistakes that people make. Now, this is not in any kind of order, chronological or most important or anything like that. These are just some of the biggest mistakes that people make. Number one, talking too much. Talking too much. Now, we probably have a big issue, you know, in society in general with talking too much. But when it comes to recruiting, you have to talk less. You have to listen, and you have to ask more questions. Leaders listen more than they speak. Now, why is that? The reason that is because nobody's going to join a business based on anything that you tell them, any information that you give them. Nobody's going to join a business based on the details of the business, based on the characteristics, based on the features. You know, Mary Kay is, you know, there's a buzz going on right now because they're sponsoring the TV show. I think it's Project Runway, and that's awesome. But most of you that are in Mary Kay, you think the things that you think are more important than they actually are. Let me say that again. The things that you think are important because you're already in Mary Kay are more important than, are less important than you think they are to the people who are not in Mary Kay yet. People who are not in Mary Kay don't care so much about the sponsorship. They don't care so much about the fact that the company has been around 50 years. They don't care so much about any of the features. Now, I'm not saying any of those things are unimportant. Those are important. But from a recruiting standpoint, you have to understand, why do people join businesses? Why do they make decisions? People make decisions to change their life based on what's going on inside their heart. Not what's happening on Wall Street, not what's, you know, happening on TV, not what's going on in a company's headquarters. That's not why people join a business, to change their life. So where I'm getting is, if you want people to make a decision to change their life, you've got to get into their heart. And you can't get into their heart by giving them information, by talking to them too much. You've got to ask probing questions. You've got to provoke them. You've got to make them think about where their life is, about what they're no longer happy with, about where they can be in 5 years from now if they make a change now, about where they could have been now if they would have made a change 5 years ago. You've got to get them thinking in terms of their life. And the only way to do that is to ask questions, shut up more, and listen more, right? Talk less, listen more. That's the best way to get into people's hearts, and so that they see this opportunity through their perspective, through their lenses. So talk less and listen more. Now, aside or related to this is too much transferring of information. When you're transferring information, when you're talking about intellectual things, you're speaking to their head. And you don't want to speak to people's heads. People don't make decisions to change their lives because it's smart, because it's intelligent. People make decisions to change their lives because they've had enough. They've suffered enough. They don't want to continue life the way they've been living life. They want something more. That doesn't mean that they have to be down in the dumps and homeless, but it means that they want something more. They've got to have some ambition inside of them, and their ambition lives in their heart. It does not live in their head. Intellectual information lives in their head. So the more information you give to them, the more that you're wasting your breath. If people want information, let them ask for it. There are some pieces of information that people need to know. I suggest you let them ask you for it instead of giving them all the possible information that they might care about, and realizing that 95% of the stuff that just came out of your mouth didn't mean anything to their heart. It only created more confusion in their head. And guess where people's objections are? In their head. Guess where people's fears are? In their head. Guess where all of people's problems are? In their head. So the last place you should engage is their head and your head. Don't speak intellectually. That's where all the problems are. When you speak from your mind to their mind, all you're doing is speaking from your fears directly to their fears. But when you speak from your heart to their heart, you're speaking from your ambition to their ambition. You're speaking from your purpose to their purpose. You're speaking from your desire to their desire. You need to have heart-to-heart conversations, not head-to-head conversations. So most of you, I promise you, you can take out 75% of the information you tend to give away and replace it with probing questions so you can get into their heart, and your recruiting results will drastically improve. Understand why people join businesses and why people make their decisions, and it'll change your conversations. The other thing that most people do mistakenly is they take results personally, especially with recruiting. Now, I know we hear this all the time. Just don't take it personally. And everybody that says no, get you closer to a yes. And we got all these intellectual responses as to why we shouldn't take things personally. But the bottom line is most people do. And with recruiting specifically, you're just more personally connected to recruiting than you are to the products, right? Most people aren't as personally attached to offering the starter kit or to offering mascara as they are to offering the opportunity. And I don't think we can change that. I think there's just more of you in the opportunity. So what you've got to do is detach yourself emotionally from other people's choices, from other people's decisions. When other people change their mind, that has to be okay. People have the right to want whatever they want. They have the right to not want whatever they don't want. And they have the right to change their mind at any point in time. Where it becomes a problem for you in your recruiting is if you let other people's choices and other people's thoughts and other people's decisions destroy you. If somebody making a choice or giving you a response causes you to emotionally melt down, you are too emotionally attached and you can't win. I'm not saying that I want you to become a robot and take all the emotion out of it. It's going to sting a little bit sometimes when people say no, or especially when people quit the business. But if it causes you to quit, if it causes you to get emotionally depressed, if it causes you to have misery, then you are too emotionally connected. You cannot be emotionally connected and win the game of recruiting at the same time. Emotional attachment crushes your recruiting. And what I said earlier about not loving recruiting, this is why. Because people are not afraid of no. People are not afraid of rejection. You're afraid of disappointment. That's what you're afraid of. Because somebody else's word, no human being can say the sound no and have it affect you. The sound no doesn't mean anything. It doesn't have anything, it doesn't have any emotional response to it. It's what you think about and what you decide after they say no that you're actually afraid of. And that feeling is disappointment. You're disappointed in yourself. You're disappointed in the other person because they didn't say yes. You're disappointed in how long it's taking you to get your goals in Mary Kay. That disappointment is what you're actually afraid of. So what we need to do is we need to avoid the disappointment instead of trying to cope with it. Because if you can't clear away the conflict, then all you can do is cope with the disappointment. And the problem with that is, if you're afraid of the disappointment that comes with recruiting, the only way you can avoid that is to not talk to humans. That's it. Because the only thing you can do is try to avoid all scenarios and situations that might create the conflict and that might create the disappointment. So what most people are doing is they're unconsciously and sometimes consciously doing the best they can to avoid the conflict and avoid the disappointment by not talking to people, by not making phone calls, by not warm chatting. And as sure as I'm standing here with every ounce of my being, with everything in my soul, I promise you that's not the best strategy. I promise you it's not the best strategy to try to cope with your fear of recruiting. I would rather you clear away the conflict, and we can do that. We can do that, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Now, from a conceptual standpoint, recruiting is nothing more than inviting and sorting. Inviting and sorting. You invite people to a phone call. You invite people to an event. You invite people over to your place. You invite people to the Monday night success meeting. If you're doing guests, you invite people to a facial. You invite people to a skincare class. You invite people to take a look. That's it. You invite people. That's what recruiting is. It's inviting. And then you sort. They're either a yes or a no, and you sort. That's it. It's like, if you knew that you're looking for people that are wearing blue shirts, then your job is simply find the people in the blue shirts. And anybody who's not wearing a blue shirt, don't spend any time arguing with them. Here's what most people are doing. You run into somebody with a red shirt on and you try to convince them how great life would be with a blue shirt on. You tell them that they should really change their shirt. And you actually pull out a blue shirt for them. Here, let me put it on you. And then they struggle and they put their hands up and they try to get you to not put your the shirt over their neck, and you're struggling with them back, and you really should have this blue shirt on, and you have no idea what you're missing out on. Listen, just let them wear their red shirt. If that's where they are, that's where they are. You wrestling with them is not doing anybody any good. It's not doing you any good. Just let them wear a red shirt. And you sort the blue shirts to one area of your business, and you sort every other color shirt to somewhere else. If you conceptually only did that and you didn't attach any meaning to the shirt color that people are wearing, you could do anything you want in this company. It's the meaning that people attach to the no's, to the rejection, to the people that they decide are going to join the business and they end up not joining the business. It's the meaning that you attach that creates the emotional disappointment that you're actually afraid of. So we have to clear away the emotional conflict. Now, one final thing is a huge mistake that people make is prejudge. Now, most of you don't think that you're prejudging. You think that you are qualifying people. And I understand that. I understand the concept of looking for sharp people. I understand the concept of looking for people who are already somewhat successful. But that's not what most people are doing. Most people are energetically prejudging, right? And when you're deciding she's going to be good, she's not going to be good, she's not going to be good, she's going to be good, she's going to be good, when you prejudge people like that, you are creating expectations. It's impossible to not create an expectation when you decide and determine that somebody is going to be good, that one of your friends is going to join your business, that this particular person at the skincare class is going to be a great prospect for you. She's going to be your next director. When you put those expectations on people, you are setting yourself up for failure because you are creating your own disappointment. Disappointment cannot be created unless you have an unmet expectation. That's the only way disappointment is created. So when you prejudge people, you're placing expectations on them. When they don't meet your expectation of them, you get to deal with disappointment. I would rather you not, play like duck, duck, goose with people. Don't play recruiting duck, duck, goose. You're a duck, you're a duck, you're a goose. You're a duck, you're a goose. Right? A lot of the ducks, you have no idea the ambition and the determination they have in their heart. And a lot of those gooses, you have no idea the wreck that they are internally and emotionally, or how much out of integrity they might be. And this is not like, I'm not trying to be negative to people. You just don't know by whatever you can see on the surface. The characteristics that are going to create success in Mary Kay are not externally observable. You can't just take a look at somebody and decide what kind of ambition they have in their heart, decide what kind of beliefs they have inside of them. You can't do that. You have to talk to them. You have to ask questions. You have to observe their behavior. And most people are making a huge mistake by playing duck, duck, goose and prejudging people. Your judgments, as I said, create the expectations. So those are just 4 of the biggest mistakes. Obviously, there's all kinds of other ones, but those are 4 of the biggest ones I wanted to talk about tonight. Now, the most internal shift that you must make, this will change everything for you. This is all about changing the game. This will change everything for you. The internal shift you must make is very simple, but it's not easy. It's to go from selling to serving. Selling is when you're chasing people. Selling is when you have an agenda. You're trying to get their name and number. You're trying to get them to come over to your house. You're trying to get them to show up at a meeting. You're trying to get them to do something. When you're in a selling mode, there's a win and a loss. If you get what you want, it's a win. If you get what you don't want, it's a loss. When you ask somebody for their name and number, if they say yes and you feel good, but they say no and you feel bad, you're selling. You're plugged into the win-loss energy. The problem with that is when you're focused on gaining something, you also have to be inherently focused on and afraid of losing the same thing. If somebody's saying yes is a win, then somebody saying no is a loss. And you're afraid of the loss. You're afraid of the disappointment that comes with the loss. So anytime that you're in the selling mode, anytime that you're focused on your own personal gain, you are in the wrong energy. The right energy is to be serving people. Serving people. There is no evil twin to serving. Serving doesn't come with the potential for losing. It doesn't come with the potential for anything negative happening. You're just showing up to serve. When you really truly get that you have the gift and you're offering people an opportunity to change their lives or an opportunity through your products to make them feel better, when you really truly get that you have a gift and your job is to give that gift away, offer it to people. Their job is to say yes and no. Their job is not to say yes. Their job is to say yes and no. Some of them will say no. Some of them will say yes. You'll probably get more no's. You probably have more people that don't join your business and don't become your customers than you do that say yes to either one of those. When you get that and you're just okay with the fact that you're probably going to have more no's than yeses, then the no's become expected and you won't be so afraid of the no's. You can't be afraid of the no's because when you're afraid of people saying no, you're selling. When you don't care whether they said no, you're serving. And that's how you tell. See, I think all of you, most people that I talk to, understand this intellectually, but I'm not concerned with whether you understand it intellectually. I want to know, do you get it in your body? Not do you get it in your words, not do you get it in your language, do you get it in your body? See, most people get it in their words, but they don't get it in their body. And here's how I know, and here's how you'll know. When you don't make the phone calls, you don't get it. When you're afraid to talk to somebody in a warm chatting situation, you don't get it. When you're afraid of asking somebody for their name and number, asking them to purchase, asking them to join, when you have any resistance in the whole process, you don't get it in your body. Because if you got it in your body, you would not be able to have resistance. You cannot have resistance towards serving. None of us have resistance towards serving. So whenever you feel resistance, fear, doubt, anxiety, irritation, negativity, whenever you feel that resistance, you don't get it in your body. You get it emotionally, intellectually, but you don't get it emotionally. And you know what? That's actually more dangerous. When you get it intellectually, you understand it 100% intellectually, but you don't get it emotionally. That's dangerous because what else can you learn? You already learned everything intellectually, but you still don't get it emotionally. You can't win. You've got to play the energetic game. You've got to get it in your body. So when you no longer feel any negativity, then you know you're truly coming from a place of service. And when you're coming from a place of service, everybody can feel it. There's no wrong answer. You're not going to make anybody wrong when they say no. You're not going to decide that they're wrong when they say no. You're not going to have any kind of negativity. You're not going to have disappointment. You might have a little bit of shock. You might have a little bit of response every now and then, but it's not going to be failure. It's not going to shut you down. So as long as you have those shutdown moments, you don't get it energetically yet. You don't get it emotionally yet. Now, can you? Absolutely. We'll talk more about that, so stick around. Next piece, the 5 characteristics, 5 of the characteristics of the world's best recruiters. Now, when I thought about this, I wasn't necessarily just thinking about people who are at the top of their game, whether it's in Mary Kay or another direct sales company or in traditional business or whatever, because there are a lot of people who are successful, but in my opinion, are not world class. And my definition of world class is people that are enjoying the journey, people that are fulfilled, people that make other people around them feel good about themselves. That to me is world class. And if you succeed without being world class, I don't think that's success. I think you still have a heck of a lot more to learn. So I want you to commit to being world class first and let the tangible success come second, because world class is the most important thing anyway. So you might as well commit to that first and then let the tangible results show up. The first thing that world-class recruiters are, they are consistent and they are relentless. They don't let up. But the reason that they are relentless is because they've cleared the conflict that I've already alluded to. They're not afraid of recruiting. They don't have the energetic, twitches. They don't have all the fears around people saying no. World-class recruiters know that most people are probably going to say no. And when people do say yes, most of them are probably not going to be super successful in the business. And you know what? World-class recruiters are still okay with that. They do it anyway. Mediocre recruiters, the people who are toe dipping, the people who are trying to get in the game, the people who are afraid to jump into the rope, right? I'm thinking a little double Dutch action here. The people who are afraid to actually jump in the game, the people who are sitting on the sidelines, they have not embraced the fact that most people will say no. And of the people that say yes, most of them still won't be super successful. Until and unless you embrace that, you can't win. You know why? Because that's the rule. Those are the rules of the game. You try to find any national sales director in Mary Kay who will tell you that her journey is different than what I just said, you won't find one of them. They'll tell you most people have said no, and most of the people that have said yes, they've not become super successful. And you know what? That's called life. That's called the human journey. That's called the rules of the game. You can either fight against the rules of the game, you can get mad at the rules of the game, you can wish the rules were different, or you can accept them and play by the rules of the game. If you play by the rules of the game, you can win. If you fight against them, if you get mad at them, if you try to change them, you can't win. You lose. And I can guarantee that 99% of the time, when you are frustrated in your business, you are trying to change the rules of the game. When I coach people, there are so many times when my coaching clients will be telling me what's going wrong in their business. Like, people are lying to me. People are not showing up to the meetings. People are getting in and I never hear from them again. People are not placing inventory orders. People are not going to seminar. People are not going to leadership. People are not returning my phone calls. People are not doing this. People are not doing that. And I'm like, and? That's not a revelation. That's called the human journey. Those are the rules of the game. When are you going to get to something that's not supposed to happen? See, most people make their journey wrong. They think that what they're experiencing is wrong. What you're experiencing is not wrong. It's called the rules of the game. Live with it, deal with it, embrace it, learn to love the rules of the game, and you can win. Until you learn to love the rules of the game, you can't win. And when you learn to love the rules of the game, then you can be consistent and then you can be relentless. And you know what? It's not a chore. See, many of you, maybe most of you, it's a chore to be consistent because you don't like what you're doing. We never have to motivate ourselves to do things that we love doing. We only have to motivate ourselves to do things that we don't like doing. So by the very fact that you're trying to motivate yourself to make phone calls, it tells me you don't get it. You're not there yet. You don't love the journey yet. And if you don't love the journey yet, that has to change first before you get any kind of results that you're looking for. And then you can be consistent and relentless like world-class recruiters. The second characteristic of world-class recruiters is that they are transparent and they are authentic. World-class recruiters are transparent and they're authentic. In today's day and age, trust is gigantic. People must trust you, and they only trust you if you're transparent and you're authentic. And that doesn't mean you have to be negative. That just means you have to be real. It means don't lie to people. Listen, the story of Mary Kay Ash is so good that you don't have to embellish it. The story of the Mary Kay opportunity of what people can do with their life is so good, you don't have to lie about it. There's no reason for you to put any more sugarcoating on something that's already as sweet as it needs to be. So be real with people. This journey is not going to be easy. And if you tell people this is going to be easy and they can become a Cadillac driving sales director in 7 hours a week, shame on you, because that's a lie. Shame on you. And you know what? If I'm your prospect and I find out that you lied to me and you didn't tell me the truth, I quit that moment. The people that you're trying to attract, they need honesty. They need transparency. And you can be real and you can say, listen, you're going to get out what you put in. I'm not going to tell you this is going to be easy, because that would be doing you a disservice and it would be irresponsible of me, because we're talking about a business that can change your life. And a business that can change your life deserves hard work. It deserves you creating time. It deserves you stopping your TV watching. Listen, Dancing with the Stars can wait. Your life cannot wait. I'm not going to tell you this is going to be easy, but I'm going to tell you this is going to be worth it. Those are the kinds of conversations you need to have with people. Those are the kinds of conversations you need to have with yourself. What are you doing right now that is doing nothing more than cementing your current circumstances? Stop doing that stuff. Do more things that are designed to break through your current circumstances, because that's what you want. That's what your heart wants. That's what your ambition wants. Your ambition doesn't want you to stay where you are right now. I know that, otherwise you wouldn't still be listening to me. You have ambition inside of you. You have a lump in your throat that says, I want more. What I've created in my life is not enough. I'm happy for everything that I have up until this point, but I want more also. That doesn't mean you're greedy. That means you're ambitious. That means you're successful. That means you've got positive expectations for your life. That means you don't want to waste this opportunity that God has given you, called life itself. That's what that means. And that's what you got to light up inside of yourself. That's what you got to light up inside of other people. And when you do it with an air of transparency and you do it with authenticity, you can't beat people away from you. They will magnetically be attracted to you, because that's what people want to follow. You have to change the magnet if you want to change the people who are attracted to you. Don't get mad at the people. Change the magnet. And you're the magnet. The next thing that world-class recruiters have is eternal optimism. Eternal optimism. You can't determine everything that happens to you, but you can determine the mindset that you have around everything that happens to you. And again, I'm not saying avoid the truth. I'm saying be eternally happy no matter what happens, and be eternally optimistic no matter what happens. Nobody wants to follow pessimistic people. Nobody wants to follow people who are whining, complaining about Obama. Nobody wants to follow people who are whining, complaining about the economy, about how nobody has money, about how nobody's excited to build a business. Nobody wants to follow you when you're in that space. I don't want to follow you. In fact, I want to turn around and go take a shower in case your energy is somehow contagious. You need to create the magnet that people want to follow. You need to become the leader that's worth following. And nobody wants to follow pessimism except other pessimistic people. You got to be eternally optimistic no matter what. Another thing that world-class recruiters have is they have selective memories. See, most people are remembering all the stuff that doesn't serve them anymore. And what's the point of your memories? Your memories are no longer a part of your life, other than the fact that your energy around your memories will be taken into your current reality. Your memories serve no purpose other than to change your state, right? And learn the lessons of those memories. But what most people are doing is they're plugged into all of the negative memories. And Mary Kay, you're remembering all the people that said no. You're remembering your best friend who didn't join you. You're remembering your parents who said this wouldn't work, or you should probably just get a job like your dad and I did. You're remembering all the stuff that brings you down. Stop remembering that stuff. World-class recruiters have selective memories. They only remember the things that are going to help them stay eternally optimistic. They remember the things that are going to help them be transparent and authentic. They remember the things that are going to help them stay consistent and relentless. And that's the book that they read over and over and over and over again. Put down the book that doesn't serve you anymore. Put down those memories that don't help you become the person you want to become. Forget those memories and only focus on the memories that are going to help you. And finally, you must live in unconditional gratitude and joy. No matter what's happening in our life, it could be worse, which means we should be grateful for where we are now. And I'm not trying to be insensitive. I know a lot of people have some terrible, terrible things happening to them, but the reality is you're still alive and things could get worse. And sometimes the best thing you can do in deep, dark moments is just get out of bed. And sometimes the best thing you can do is just stay awake in bed. I get that. There are times in our lives where it's challenging because of the circumstances around us to just get out of bed. But you've got to just stay up. You've got to stay in gratitude. It's the people who live in unconditional joy and gratitude that create the conditions that they want. You shouldn't have to have a certain number of people on your team for you to be happy. You shouldn't have to have a certain number of dollars in your bank account for you to be grateful. You're not put on this planet to be in conditional happiness. You're put on this planet to love the fact that you're on this planet, period. Everything after that is like gravy. And when you can live in that space of unconditional joy and gratitude, you can create the circumstance and the conditions that you want. But when you have too much desperate energy around those conditions, they're going to be very, very difficult to create. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people have this internal resistance towards recruiting, is because you're emotionally attached to the conditions that you think recruiting is going to give you and building a bigger team is going to give you. And you're telling yourself you're not good enough until you're a director, or you're not good enough until you're in the Cadillac, or you're not good enough until you're a national, or until you're in your red jacket. You're not good enough until your national sales director acknowledges you, or your director acknowledges you. You're not good enough until your husband says, honey, I'm happy that you're working this business. You're not good enough until your kids acknowledge the work that you're doing in Mary Kay. A lot of you think that you're not good enough unless something happens. You don't get it. You're good enough, period. If you weren't, you wouldn't be here. Your self-esteem should not be conditional upon anything happening in your life. Should not be conditional upon anybody else's opinion of you. It should not be conditional upon anybody acknowledging you. Your self-esteem is finite. It cannot get any higher and it cannot get any lower. Unfortunately, most people perceive their own self-worth infinitely lower than what it actually is. And that's tragic. That's tragic. And trying to just cope with that is not the answer. We've got to clear that away and change the magnet. Now let's talk about two specific business-related things. We're going to go through this quick because most of the stuff that I've already talked about, when you get all that stuff, these things are easy. The first thing is overcoming objections. This is a big, big issue for a lot of people. How do I overcome objections? First of all, I want you to embrace the fact that objections are part of the process. Objections are signs of interest. They're considerations that people have, and they're supposed to happen. It's just like the rules of the game that I was talking about earlier. You're supposed to do your presentation, and then they're supposed to give you objections. That's the way it works. In fact, I would actually be a little concerned if somebody just joined this business blindly without asking any questions, without having any considerations. I would be a little concerned by that. Most people are going to have some kind of objection, and you need to not fear the fact that they're going to have objections. Embrace it and keep your fun face on. Objections can be handled with fun. When you smile, it makes other people smile, whether you're on the phone or you're in person. It makes the conversation more lighthearted. It makes it easy. It makes you more persuasive when you're smiling. So just smile and have the fun. Don't get into a debate. Don't become a defense attorney. And don't make people wrong when they give you their objections. Their objections are right. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given it to you. They're not wrong for having an objection. They just have an objection, and that's fine. Don't make them wrong. Just explore the objection. Now I'm going to get that. Actually, let me just go ahead because I already said that. You want to explore the objection. Don't overcome the objection. See, they have the answers inside of them, not you. And my favorite response is 5 words. When somebody tells you I can't do it because they have any kind of objection, you just say this. Tell me more about that. You don't tell them they're wrong. You don't say, oh, yeah, you have more time. Or what if I could show you a way? You just say, tell me more about that. And let them try to justify why they just said that their dreams are not important. Because that's really what they just said. If you're doing your job and you're causing them to look at this opportunity through through the perspective of this is a way for me to get my dreams, and then they tell you they don't have time for it, well, they just said that their dreams are not important enough. Period. And so you just explore that with them. Tell me more about that. Don't try to overcome them. So I'm going to jump back up to the 3rd bullet here. Address the objections during the presentation. The 3 most common objections are time, money, and ability. I don't have the time. I don't have the money. I can't do it. The best way to address these objections unconsciously during the presentation is to tell stories about those things and get them to acknowledge that the objection is false, that the objection is ridiculous. So for instance, you can say, now I'm sure you understand that when things are important enough, you make time for the things that are important, right? And they say yes. Well, they have just acknowledged that I don't have time is no longer a valid excuse for things that are most important to them. And you would agree that when something's really important, you find money to fund whatever it is that's really important, right? If something's important enough, you could find $500. If your children's lives were in danger, you'd find $10,000, right? Things that are important enough, you can find money. And they say yes. Okay, now they've just acknowledged that that objection is ridiculous. Now, this is happening during the presentation. It's not happening at the end, because the end is when their wall goes up. It's during the conversation. It's during the interview. That's when you put these in there, because they don't have their defense mechanism up yet, or their ability. You know, you can maybe ask them if something was really important to you. I'm sure you've had times in your past where something was really important to you, maybe even things you didn't think you could do, but you just you stepped up anyway and you created the success that you want. You probably have some times like that, right? And they'll say yes. And if they say no, then that's a pretty good sign that they're not going to work. And that's fine. If they say no, I've never stepped up to the plate and worked for anything that I wanted, do you really want them on your team? That's a sign that they probably are not exhibiting the characteristic that will lead to success right now. It doesn't make them a bad person. They're just probably not ready. So those are overcoming objections. And finally, how do you identify and attract your ideal prospects? You've got to, number one, be clear about the characteristics that you want. See, most people are clear about what they don't want. They don't want liars. They don't want people who are going to quit. But they don't have the clarity around the characteristics that they do want. You want success-minded people. You want people that are determined. You want people that are disciplined. You want people that understand the financial side of running a business and investing in a business. Those are the people that you want. So you got to get clear on those characteristics. And then you affirm those characteristics to attract them. And the reason you want to affirm those things is because repetition causes heightened awareness. So if you have an affirmation that says something like, I am happily and joyously attracting people to my business who are success-minded and disciplined, and they understand the financial side of investing into a business. If you affirm that to yourself over and over and over again, then you'll pay more attention to that. And that's important for you to pay more attention to the things, the characteristics that you're actually looking for. And then what you do is you focus on their actions and see if they align with the characteristics that you want. If they don't align with the characteristics that you want, then they're probably not a good fit right now. So the more that your awareness is heightened and the more that you're talking about the characteristics that you want, the more that you'll be able to filter out the people who are not in a good space right now for these particular characteristics of success, and the more that you'll notice the people who are in that boat. And when you go after, from a focus standpoint, when you focus on something that you want, you tend to find it more. When you focus on all the things you don't want, you tend to find those more. So that's how you get real clear and you start to attract the ideal prospects. So let's get into just number one, recruiting mindset in general. So to kind of sum up all of this stuff, recruiting success isn't determined by what you say or do. It's determined by how you show up. Too many people are focused on how do I do recruiting? What do I say in my recruiting? Those things are not totally unimportant, but they're not the most important. What's most important is how are you showing up? So let's talk briefly before I open it up for Q&A, and I'm going to invite you to play a bigger game with us here in a moment. But let's talk about life in general. I'm very passionate about living this journey. And this journey, as I alluded to earlier, is not going to be easy. But if you play it the right way, this journey will be worth it. What you can create at the end of the tunnel is so incredibly awesome. Most people will never get there because they don't believe the journey is valuable enough. So they stop and they quit the journey because the journey is rough. The journey is bumpy. The journey has people telling them no. The journey has all the things that the journey is supposed to have, but they think it's not supposed to have, and they don't understand how valuable the end of the road actually is. And if you understood how valuable the end of the road actually was and how much it outweighs all of that negative stuff that you have to go through, you would have no problem going through all of that negative stuff. But most people never taste that. Most people never taste the fulfillment of really giving it their all. And that's sad, because at the end of your life, you won't look back and care about whether you ever drove a pink Cadillac or not. You won't look back and care about whether you ever got into the director's suit. You won't look back and care about any of the tangible goals that you had or didn't have, or that you achieved or didn't achieve. That's not the question that you're going to assess your life on. The question you're going to assess your life on is, did I go for it? Did I give it everything I had? If you gave it everything you had and you fell short, you can live with that. But if you did not give it everything you had, even if you achieved a lot of your goals, if you did not give it everything you have, if you're checking out with unspent potential, if you've got music still inside of you, when your time here is done, you will not be okay with that. And that, to me, is the definition of success. The definition of success is not did you win. The definition of success is, did you try with every ounce of your being? Did you try? When you define success through the lens of effort and not through the lens of result, everything in your world changes. Your energy changes, your fulfillment changes, and your results change. That's just a bonus. When you define success according to whether I tried my hardest and not according to whether people say yes, you win. You get it. You're going to make so many of those shifts that I talked about early on, and you're going to have more tangible success. So in the game of life, in the game of Mary Kay, you really have two choices. One choice, I talked about coping. You can cope with the circumstances. You can cope with your current reality. You can try to avoid your habitual patterns or your identities or your beliefs and expectations. You can try to get more out of those internal pieces than is possible to get out of. You can continue trying that stuff and coping, or you can change the game. You can clear the conflicts that I've alluded to. You can make it easier on yourself. You can love the journey. You can create new patterns. You can create new identities. You can create new beliefs about yourself, about money, about success. You can create better expectations. And when you create that stuff from the inside out, everything changes. So if you have two choices, I say choose wisely. I say you do everything you possibly can to clear the conflict. You do everything you possibly can to stack the deck in your favor and not try to continue running uphill. That's what most people do. And most people that are more committed to their convenience and more committed to their comfort will continually cope in their life. The people who are more committed to growth, more committed to changing their current set of circumstances, more committed to challenge, those people will embrace the journey that's required to absolutely fundamentally and foundationally change the game. So my biggest wish for you is that you make choice B, that you're willing to do the work that's the only thing that can change the foundation of your life, because then all the other things, all the other details are just details, and they're so much easier. Now, if you're that kind of person, I'm going to make an invitation to you right now. If you're that kind of person that wants to change the game fundamentally and foundationally, if you're willing to do the work that will make everything infinitely easier in your business, that you stop coping with your fears, you stop wrestling with your procrastination, your perfectionism, all of those things. If you're the kind of person that really truly wants to change the foundation that your Mary Kay building is built upon, so that you can build higher and wider, so that you can go further and faster, then I want you to join our Change the Game group coaching program. Now, I decided last year that I probably was not going to do a Mary Kay only group coaching program again. I did it once. I've done it several times. I did it earlier last year, and I just decided that I'm probably not going to do it again. But you know what? I've had this rumbling in my belly for the last few months. And I just knew, there are things that I'm learning and the things that I'm experiencing in my current life that I haven't taught yet. There are things that I am going through around my foundational beliefs around money, around success, around who I am as a person, what I can do in business. And these are things that I haven't truly taught yet. Or if I did teach them, I didn't teach them to the depth that I know them now. And so what I decided to do, and I got incredibly excited when I made this decision, is to do one more Mary Kay only group coaching program. And this is it. It's changed the game. And for those of you that know that this is what you need to do, for those of you that have this lump in your throat, maybe you've cried, maybe you've got the rumbling in your stomach, maybe you're fired up, you know that this is calling you. You can go to that website and be one of the first few people. There are some bonuses I'll get to in a moment. Last time, all the bonuses were done before I even explained them, because there are enough, sometimes you just know that that this is your next step. And if this is your next step, go there, pinkcattycoach.com/CTG for Change the Game. Let me explain the intentions of this program. In this program, you're going to change your internal belief structure so that you have permission to succeed. Most people don't have permission to succeed. They have the knowledge to succeed, but they don't have the permission to succeed. They have the ability, but they don't have the belief. They have the skill set, but they don't have the mindset. You need to change your internal belief structure from the inside out so that you have the permission to succeed. And in this course, I'm not just going to be teaching you conceptually. I will be giving you detailed exercises that you can do. I'm going to teach you the concept, and then I'm going to tell you how to get it into your life. A lot of things we've been talking about are conceptual, right? How do you break that emotional attachment? Well, I'm going to give you several exercises that you do on a daily basis to break that emotional attachment. So you've got to be willing to do the work. Now, if you're not willing to do the work, this is not some kind of magic bullet, and I'll be upfront about that. This is not a magic bullet. You just drink the Kool-Aid a little bit. All of a sudden, you don't have any more emotional attachment. All of a sudden, you have this belief around yourself. You're not going to undo 45 years of negative habits just because you want to. You're going to do it intentionally deconstructing your habits and intentionally reconstructing new habits. So we're going to attack any of the beliefs that no longer serve you, especially around money and success. And this is the work that I've been doing personally in my own life, and a lot with a lot of my private coaching clients is specifically around money. I have not taught how do you change your beliefs around money? How do you attack them? How do you identify them? I have not taught that ever at the level that I now currently understand it, and at the level that I will be teaching it in this course. And we're also going to attack success, because if you don't have positive beliefs around success and money, you can't win. It doesn't matter what you learn. It doesn't matter what skills you have. Your skills cannot overcome your beliefs. Your skills cannot outperform your beliefs. Your skills can't outperform your personal expectations of yourself. So we're going to attack this in a big way. I want you to create the long-lasting and sustainable productivity habits. The biggest reasons that people don't succeed in Mary Kay really have nothing to do with Mary Kay specifically. They have to do with your effectiveness. They have to do with your time management, your productivity habits. So we're going to attack some of those things, and we're going to always focus on implementation, implementation, implementation. Knowledge that's not implemented is useless. Who cares if you understand something if you don't implement it into your life? So the whole thing will be focused on implementation. We want to shift your energy around yourself and your business so that you can attract results with ease. Ease. And that happens by shifting some of the conflicts we've been talking about. I want to teach you some of the business building systems, both internal systems and external systems. Some of them are Mary Kay specific, some of them are not, that are needed for consistent growth and rapid growth. The bottom line is I want to support you in achieving your biggest goals in Mary Kay in general. I will be more involved in this program than any of the programs I've done before. And I will be bringing content and exercise that I've never taught before because I didn't know before. This is the best of what I currently know. After 9 years of teaching and training in this game, in this world of Mary Kay, I want to teach you everything that I know. I want to help you learn from other people's mistakes so you can shorten your learning curve, so you can get there quicker and faster. And I've been coaching people privately for 9 years. I know the biggest hangups out there. I know what happens when people make the shifts that they make. And that's what I want to help support you in, so that ultimately you can have more time freedom, you can have more financial freedom, and you can live life on your terms. That's what we're talking about here. So let me tell you some of the details of the group. It's going to be an 8-week live group coaching program, which means I'm going to be live with you on each of the calls. And what we're going to do is we're going to do 5 weeks with everybody. And these are the foundational concepts that apply to everybody in Mary Kay, no matter what your position is. And then we're going to do 3 weeks with a split track, a position-specific track. So I'm going to take the consultants and DIQs for 3 weeks, and I'm going to talk to you about the things that are most important and immediate in front of you. And I'm going to take the directors and I'm going to talk to you about the things that only relate to you as a director. And this is really important because at a certain point, I cannot help you unless I speak specifically to where you are in the company. There are certain things that apply to directors right now that don't apply to you. If you're a red jacket, they just don't apply to you. And I'm not in the business of confusing you with irrelevant information. That's not what's going to help you get going further and faster. So I want to help you take the next step in your journey. And many of you consultants, I promise you this, you're learning too much stuff that is, I'm not saying it's too advanced for you, like intellectual, like you don't understand it, but it's beyond you. You're in 2nd grade and you're trying to learn 7th grade math. Do you have the ability to learn 7th grade math? Yeah, but you're in 2nd grade right now. And that's not a values judgment. I don't want you to feel negative about that. You just have to understand where you are, and you need to put your focus on, you need to put your blinders on into getting you to the next level. So learning things that are 10 levels ahead of you doesn't help you. You're not going to miss out on anything that's going to help you right now. So we're going to split the tracks. And I put a lot of thought into this, and I got a lot of feedback into this. And I've never done this either. I've always just had a group program where everybody's there. And what I realize is there are things that I can't get detailed enough with because I'm speaking to too many people along the spectrum. So we're going to separate you and actually put you in different rooms. So each of you will have 8 weeks, 5 weeks altogether, 3 weeks with your specific position. As I said earlier, we're going to go deeper into money beliefs and implementation than I've ever gone before. You're going to have handouts with notes and exercises that's going to extend the learning, that's going to help you soak it in, that's going to help you implement. You're going to have live Q&A sessions with me after every single call. You're going to have a private Facebook group so that you can continue the conversation and get support with everybody else on this journey with you. You're going to have access to all the archives. So if you can't make the calls live, you can listen to them on the archive page. You can download them, listen to them on your phone, put them on your computer. This information is yours. And I'm going to give you every possible way to consume the information and to implement the information. So here's kind of the layout here. The foundation part where we talk to everybody, these are the things that are going to apply to everybody. We're going to talk about money and success beliefs. We're going to talk about time management, activity management, duplication techniques that are really important for you to intentionally implement. We're going to talk about your internal success drivers. We're going to talk about your identities and your boundaries. And by boundaries, I don't mean just you telling people you're only available between 5 and 7. I mean your energetic boundaries. Boundaries are more internal than external. We're going to talk about your habit destruction and your habit creation. We got to destroy habits that don't serve you. We got to create ones that do. We'll talk about your self-esteem, increasing your perception of your self-esteem, increasing your confidence. This is not all we're going to talk about, but these are the types of things that we're going to talk about that apply to everybody, no matter where you are. But for the consultants and DIQs, we're going to talk about the solid business foundation that you need as an independent beauty consultant. We'll talk about the mindset you need to have of moving up. Most people try to adopt the mindsets of directors way too early, and that doesn't help you. I'm going to help you understand where your mindset should be, what you should be focused on, what you should be doing at every step of the process, when to recruit, when to sell. That's a sticking point for a lot of people. How do you deal with uninspiring leaders and mentors? Listen, if you're still listening to me, you know I don't sugarcoat things. You know that I talk reality. And here's the reality. You got 2 million plus people in this company. You're not going to agree with all of them. You're not going to get along with all of them. Not every single mentor in this company is going to inspire you. Now, we can pretend that that doesn't happen, and then you can deal with the internal conflicts that you have and get nothing accomplished, never get that problem solved. Or we can identify and we can embrace and we can acknowledge that, you know what, this is a people business and people don't always get along. And how do you deal with that? Can you still be successful as a consultant if you don't really feel inspired by your director, or if you don't really feel inspired by your national, if you don't feel inspired by the contest that the company is putting out? I will never, ever, ever speak any negativity toward the company, toward another person, or any of that sort of stuff. But I speak reality, and the reality is there are a lot of people conflicts inside of Mary Kay. And if you don't handle those people conflicts, you can't win. If you don't have an inspiring leader that you want to be like, your unconscious mind will say, well, I better not become a director because I don't like my director, or I don't like the lifestyle that she has. And this isn't like, you know, whether you actually like somebody as a person, but you might not like the energy that she has. You might not like how much she works. You might not like how little she works. If you don't really truly relate and you can't see yourself 100% in your leaders, then there's going to be some internal conflict there. I want to teach you how to deal with that so that you don't sacrifice your business success just because you don't get along with somebody or just because somebody else isn't the best fit for you. This isn't about right or wrong. This is about best fits. We're going to talk about how you can set your goals flexibly for yourself and, you know, maintain your focus on what's going to serve you best in building your business. We're going to talk about how to recruit as a consultant. And let's be honest, you don't have a big, huge track record of success. You can't tell people that you hit the first level of leadership called director and that you got this big bonus check, or that you, you know, just rose up the ladder. You can't, because you haven't. And for a lot of people, they hide behind that. But if you're embarrassed by your results, you'll never recruit people. You don't want to recruit somebody into the same misery that you're experiencing. And that's called integrity, right? You don't want to recruit somebody into failure if you think you've failed. So we have to deal with that head on, because that's reality. You know how I know that's reality? Because I've been coaching people for 9 years, and we talk about stuff that they don't talk about in the meetings, or they don't talk about with anybody else because they don't think anybody else is going through it, or they think it's embarrassing. But listen, avoiding something that's embarrassing doesn't make it go away. So we're going to attack all these things head on. In the director's track, we're going to talk about some of the more advanced leadership skills, persuasion, influence, things like that. Who do you work with? Who do you love and let go? How do you actually start people properly to get them engaged, to get them excited, to get them having success, and to set them on the right path? Most people don't do this properly. How do you run meetings so you increase the engagement? How do you be more persuasive, more influential? How do you lead more? How do you create those boundaries that I alluded to with your family, with your unit, with your colleagues, with your sister directors, with everybody, mostly with yourself? How do you teach the flexible goal setting? When you have 10 people at your unit meeting, you can't teach them all the same way to set goals because they won't work for all of them. So how can you include the flexible goal setting and set yourself up to succeed even more? So that's the layout of the program. That's the intention of this program. And this program is for you if you're tired of being where you are, if you've got a little bit of irritation building up inside of you, or a lot of irritation building up inside of you because you're not happy where you are. That's great. You're ready for a breakthrough. If you want to grow quickly and you want to grow consistently, I'm more concerned about consistently, but we can go consistently. We can go quickly if you're doing consistently also. I don't want you to grow quickly and inconsistently. If you're up for that. If you're, I already talked about this, if you're irritated a little bit or a lot because you know that you have more to get out of yourself, and you also understand that you're not going to maximize your own abilities. Nobody has the ability to pull the most out of themselves. It just does not happen. You need support. You need coaching. You need new ideas. You need new perspectives. You need people encouraging you. You need to change the game. You need to change the recipe. You can't keep following the same recipe and hoping something else will come out of the oven. If you understand that, then this program is great because that's the way I operate. If you're willing to roll up your sleeves and you're willing to take action, then awesome. If you're looking for a magic bullet, please don't enroll. This won't benefit you. If you want to learn from other people's mistakes, from what I've learned in my 9 to 10 years in Mary Kay, if you want to shorten your learning curve, awesome. This is for you. The bottom line is if you're hungry, you know if you're hungry. If you're hungry and if you're ready for a change, if you're a parent and you want to show your children what it's like to go after your goals 100% without making excuses, without passing on any of your negative beliefs, without passing on any of your negative beliefs about success, about money, about yourself, about life in general. If you're hungry and you want to foundationally change the game for yourself, and you want to foundationally change the game for your family, no matter who you have in your family, that's what we're talking about here. Then I invite you to play along with us. Now, alongside those calls, you're going to have some bonuses. Bonus number 1, I'm going to do a call specifically for DIQs. I toyed around with having a third track with only DIQs, but instead I decided to do a bonus call for only DIQs. Now, this is going to relate to all of you, though. If you're in DIQ, obviously, I'm going to teach you what I've learned over my 9 to 10 years about what to do and what not to do in DIQ, because a lot of directors struggle in their business because of the mistakes they made in DIQ. And again, I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. I'm going to tell you like it is because I want you to succeed and I want you to be working on reality, not fantasy. If you're a consultant, that call will help you to prepare you for DIQ. And if you're a director, that call will help you so that you can help other people who are in DIQ or getting ready to go into DIQ. Bonus call number 2. Warm chatting is obviously a very hot issue in Mary Kay. And what I'm going to do is a panel discussion with some of my clients who are really crushing it warm chatting. There are people out there that are getting leads and leads and leads from left and right every single day, and it's inspiring. And I want you to hear what they're doing. I want you to hear how they're thinking. I want you to hear about some of the changes they've made, and I want you to hear from their voice, not just from my voice. I will obviously chime in, but that's going to be a great group call. What's working with warm chatting? That's going to be a bonus call. Bonus number 3 is you're going to get a one-on-one private consultation. We call it a business explosion strategy session with one of our business explosion coaches. And I want you to focus focus on this content. Now, some of you may have already had that session because you bought another program somewhere else, and that's okay. We're going to give it to you again because I want you to focus on the content that you're going to learn specifically in the Change the Game course. So that's going to be another really super valuable bonus when you can say, okay, this is what I learned in the course. How can I apply that? How does that translate or transfer to me? You're also going to get 2 months free in our Eagles Club monthly coaching program, where we're going to deliver a phone call every month with myself and a partner of mine who's got 250,000 people in her downline. And you're going to get CDs delivered to you on a monthly basis. It's positive programming. It's really powerful stuff. The value of all 4 of these bonuses is more than the investment of the program itself. It's $338. The investment of the program, and I specifically want to use the word investment. See, broke people think about cost. Successful people think about investment. Everything is an investment. And I don't want you to just think that you're buying this program. I don't want this to be an expense for you. I want this to be an investment for you, where you change everything foundationally and fundamentally so that this program pays for itself immediately. So the investment options, if you do it all up front, is only $197. I wanted to make this low enough that anybody can do it. Listen, if you see enough value in yourself, in your life, in your dreams, you can create $197. You can either find it or you can create it. You're in Mary Kay, which means you own an ATM machine. If you're in business, you own an ATM machine. If your life was in danger, you'd create $197 by the end of the hour. If your children's lives were in danger, if you're a parent, you'd create any amount of money to save them. You have the ability. It's just you don't have the belief if you're looking at that as a big obstacle. Now, there's also a payment plan. We understand that some people just need a little bit of help. Excuse me. And so we have a payment plan. Hang on one sec. 3 payments of just $75. I mean, think about what would it take for you to change in your business in order to create the money to invest in this program. $75. That's one facial. You know, one bad skincare class covers the investment of this program. If you can change something inside this program internally for yourself, and you get one good idea that causes you to have one more skincare class, the program invests, or the program pays for itself. But I want you to understand that that's not what this is about. That's not about getting this program to pay for itself. This is about getting this program to help you change the foundation that will change your future, that can pay for itself multiple times, month after month going forward. If you're not looking at it that way, then you're not looking at it through the right business mindset. This is a business. You have to invest your time, your energy, and your money to create success in business. Now, some of you have already registered. I get that. And some of you are thinking that's too much money. And I want to speak to those of you that might be thinking right now, that's a little too much money. You might be thinking, you know, all the what ifs, right? What if it doesn't work? What if I waste $197? What if people think I'm crazy? What if, you know, it turns out to be like that other program that I didn't commit to and it didn't change my life? We need to attack that thinking. You need to attack that thinking. Maybe that's your biggest breakthrough, is that you attack the thinking that has held you back your entire life. If your knee-jerk, immediate default response when an opportunity is placed in front of you is, I can't do it, you can't win. You can't achieve your dreams with I can't thinking. If that's your default response, then what that means is you're more committed to your circumstances than you are changing your circumstances. I can't afford it is circumstantial language. Your desire should outweigh your circumstances. If and when your desire outweighs your circumstances, you'll do whatever you need to do to change your circumstances. But if you don't have that fire inside of you that outweighs the doubt, the only thing you can do is try to convince yourself that you're comfortable where you're not truly comfortable, which is right where you are now. Please, please don't make that choice. Now, if you don't want to do this with me, that's great. If you don't like my energy, you don't think any of this stuff will help you, that's great. If this is an intentional choice because you don't like the program, that's great. But if you're telling yourself you can't because of the money, or you're afraid of the growth that you're actually going to have, that's not okay. You have to attack that. And if you think you can't afford this, that means you need to find a way to do it, because that's not the way that you're ever going to get to your dreams, with the inability to afford something that can change everything in your life. You own an ATM machine. This is about value. This is about the value of your dreams. It's not about whether you have $197 unclaimed lying around inside your couch or in your bank account. You got to think about this the right way. You got to think about what's the prize, not what's the price. Don't think about the cost. Think about what you can create when you learn the lessons that you need to learn in order to take you places you haven't gone yet, or get you back to places that you went to, but you didn't have the right internal makeup at the time to stay there. That's the conversation you need to have with yourself. And I'm here to encourage you to bet on yourself. If you won't bet on yourself, who will? Everybody I know that's ever done anything significant in their lives has taken, at some point in time, everything they had and they've bet it on themselves. You've got to be willing to bet on yourself. That's what this is about. This is about saying yes to you. This is not about saying yes to a coaching program. This is not about saying yes to me. This is about saying yes to you. This is about saying yes to your family. This is about saying, you know what? I don't know if this is going to work, but I know I'm not satisfied where I am, and so I know I need to change the recipe. That's what this is really about. This is about swinging the bat. This is about taking the shot. This is about giving the effort so that at the end of your life, you can say, I went for it. That's ultimately what this is about. And I don't want you to think about it any other way. And some of you, and you know, if I'm speaking directly into your heart right now, some of you need to start betting on yourself. Some of you need to stop betting against yourself, because you've done that all your life. It's time to start betting on yourself, not against yourself. It's time to start fighting with yourself, not against yourself. It's time to be more committed to your dreams than to your internal language, to your doubts. It's time to be more committed to growing than to be committed to your comfort zone. If that's you, then that's what I'm inviting you to do. I'm inviting you to make the decision to bet on yourself. Now, we also have some fast action taker bonuses. These are probably gone. At least one of these are probably gone because I know I've had this link up for about 10 or 15 minutes. For the first 200 action takers that jump into this program, you're going to get $50 in Pink Caddy cash. So what that means is you're going to get $50 that you can use for any physical product or any other group coaching program that excludes this particular program throughout the end of next year. You're going to have 15 months to use a $50 coupon basically against whatever we offer in the Pink Caddy world, right? And I've never offered that before. I'm actually really excited about that. I think that's a really cool bonus for the first 200 action takers. You're also going to get a laser coaching call only for this group with me in January, so we can discuss the implementation of this content, and also I can talk to you once the new year has started. So we're going to do a laser group coaching call in January. Now, for the first 10 action takers only, you're going to get a 25-minute private coaching call with me specifically. So I can get my hands on your business and I can take a look at how can I best help you with this information? How can I best help you implement? So this is for the first 10 action takers only. There's also a guarantee. The money back guarantee is if within 30 days you don't think this is the best thing you've done, if within 30 days you don't think I've delivered on my promise, if you don't think the training is going to help you implement and really double your business, then we'll refund all your money. We won't ask any questions. So basically, there's no risk on your part. And so I don't want you to think about the challenges. I don't want you to think about your circumstance. I want you to think about what's possible. I want you to think about what happens when you get rid of your perfectionism like Antonella and your income triples. I want you to think about making some monumental shifts in your business like Coty did. And she brought in 80 new team members a few months after she made some of these shifts and she got into her Cadillac. Think about Gigi making some of the changes that Gigi's made, and she's increased her retail sales by over $3,000, and I think it's even more by now. She's paid off, I believe, 10 or 12 credit cards by now. For the first time in her career, she had 5 active team members. I want you to think about what's possible. Judy Geeson tripled her production from $3,600 to over $10,000. Diane said she was booking at least one person every day. Fran Bracy has a psychology degree. She said she learned more about human behavior from one call than her psychology degree. Many of you know Jim. He went from 39 to 200 team members quickly in a few months. He became the king of sales. He got back into his Cadillac. I want you to think about what's possible. I don't want you to think about what's impossible. I don't want you to think about why you can't. I want you to think about why you must. I want you to think about why you need to. The significant question in life is not what's the cost of taking action. That's the way mediocre people think. The most significant question you can ask yourself is what's the cost of not taking action? What if I don't make some of the changes that are required? What if I don't make some of those changes? What's the cost then? When the cost of not taking action outweighs the cost of taking action, your life changes. Your business changes. Everything changes. What's the cost of not taking action? Here's what I know. Most human beings will not fundamentally change their life until they've suffered enough. So have you suffered enough? If you have, let me help. If you have, let me help. That is my biggest intention here. So hopefully this has been valuable for you. I am going to open it up for Q&A now. For those of you that are on pinkcaddyhangout.com, you can ask your questions there on that page. I'll see if we've got any questions right now. Many of you have been blowing up the Pink Caddy fan page, Pink Caddy Coach fan page with the hashtag Change the Game. I really appreciate that. So let's see if there's any questions. People are saying serving is your aha moment. Service doesn't come with the potential of losing. Gina, absolutely. Leslie says the same thing. Cindy says, this sounds so much like me. I don't know when you posted that, Cindy, but if this sounds so much like you, then I really invite you to join the program so we can fundamentally change the game. Stephanie says, you love the red shirt, blue shirt example. It's just a concept that most people really get. So, you know, we got to make some of these changes. Brooke says, if we don't have a penny, how can I make my true decision? Brooke, I don't want you to think about the money that you have. I want you to think about what you can create in your life. Both the money that you can create in your life, but more importantly than that, the impact that you can create in your life. Money is a circumstance. Desire can't be measured. So that's what I want you to check in on with yourself. What's more important, the desire and the ambition that you have, or the money that you currently have? You own an ATM machine. Create the money. There's nothing wrong with putting your blinders on and creating whatever money you have to create in order to fund your dreams. There's nothing wrong. Sometimes people need to ask for money. Sometimes people need to borrow money. Sometimes people need to just put their head down and sell something. You're in business. If you're in business, you own an ATM machine. You have the legal right to print money if something is important enough to you. So I want you to focus on your conviction. I don't want you to focus on your current circumstance. Let's see. I have to continually refresh my page to see these comments coming in. All right, cool. I want to take a look at the Pink Caddy page. Let's see what some of you've been saying on the Pink Caddy page with hashtag change the game. Patty says affirmations are important because repetition causes heightened awareness. Beatrice says, I can't wait to start. Yeah, I can't wait to have you in the program, Beatrice. Absolutely. Love the 5 characteristics and how you broke them down. Live in unconditional gratitude and joy, Mary. You're so right. Stephanie, people want authenticity. Stop doing the things that are keeping you where you are. Yes. Strategic quitting. We need to strategically quit the things that are no longer serving us. Stephanie also says, learn to love the rules of the game and consistency won't be a problem. I've never had that thought, Stephanie, until today. I've never put those two together as succinctly as it really just came clear to me today. Stephanie says, serving versus selling. Mary, when we think they will be great and then something falls apart, it's our expectation. That's an issue. That's so true. World-class recruiters. A lot of people are talking about serving instead of selling, red shirt, blue shirt. So if this class, Change the Game, is calling you, then do it. Don't allow your doubts to talk you out of something that you believe will change the game for you. Your doubts keep you stuck. That's what they do. That's what they are designed to do, and that's what they are fantastic at doing, is keeping you stuck. That's what they do. Don't invite your doubts into the conversation about changing your life, because your doubts will only keep your life exactly as it is. That's the only thing that your doubts have the capability of doing, is keeping you square inside your comfort zone. That's the only thing your doubts have the ability of doing. Your convictions and your dreams and your ambition. And sometimes, you know what? You need to just have blind faith. Sometimes you need to have irresponsible belief, meaning sometimes you have to have belief in something, in yourself, when there's no evidence to support the belief. Sometimes you just have to be crazy enough to think you can, for no other reason than it's just more fun than thinking you can't. Those are the kinds of people that change the world. Those are the kinds of people that change their life. Those are the kinds of people that inspire others. People that just decide, you know what, I'm just going to try just because. Just because trying is more fun than quitting. Trying is more fun than settling. If you have that mentality, your life is going to be fun. If you have the mentality that you have to succeed at something, otherwise it's not worth trying, and you have to know that you'll succeed before you commit, you'll never succeed. Commitment doesn't come after success. Commitment comes before success. You have to commit before you succeed. So I see a lot of people have jumped in. I just want to acknowledge some of you that jumped in. It looked like the very first person on tonight was Carol. Courtney, you're in. Beatrice, Cheryl, Mary, Gina, Anika, hopefully I'm saying that right. Karen, Roxana, Heidi, Beth, Tammy, Alyssa, Sharon, Sally, Alfreda. We have Ellie, Stephanie, Annette, Sherry, Elizabeth, Ramona, Fernanda, Monica. You guys are all, here's why I acknowledge you, and why I wanted to acknowledge you publicly is because I want to acknowledge your decision to say yes to yourself and to give it an effort. I want to acknowledge that decision for you. So I'm excited for you. I'm excited to meet you inside the program. I'm excited to get started. This program starts on October 15th. The phone calls vary. What I decided to do is not have the same call on the same day at the same time, because some of you might have a conflict with your unit meeting and you can't make the same call each week because your unit meeting's at the same time each week. So Patsy just joined us. Welcome, Patsy. So they vary. Some of them are Mondays, Tuesdays, some of them are in the afternoon, some of them are in the evenings. And I did that so that we can try to get as many people as possible to be able to get on some of the live calls. Remember, if you can't get on the live calls, you have access to the recordings all the time. So the schedule of the program shouldn't be a deciding factor for you. The deciding factor should just be if this is important enough to you. That's what the deciding factor should be. All right, I don't see any other comments, questions right now that need to be addressed. So I am going to sign off here. I appreciate your time, your attention, your energy. I acknowledge you for taking the time out of your schedule to spend the time here with us. I acknowledge you because that means that your business and your life and your journey are important. And it means that you're willing to bet on yourself. Renata says, where do we sign up? The link, Renata, I will actually send it to you in this. I'll reply to your comment. The link for everybody is pinkcaddycoach.com/CTG, which stands for Change the Game. Oh, here's a question. Elizabeth says, my concern with joining the program is follow through. I've tried coaching before and did a lousy job with following along with homework. Okay, Elizabeth, let me address this. Your past failures do not deserve your consideration when you're talking about your future. Anything that you've done up until this point has nothing to do with what you're committed to doing from this point forward. Don't fight for your past failures. Otherwise, your past failures will continue to control you in your life. Don't fight for what you used to be, because then you can't create what you're destined to be. Then you can't create who you're meant to be. I don't ever want to hear you fight for your limitations again, because a certain point in time in your past, you didn't follow through. Everything can change from this point forward. Your past might be checkered, but your future is spotless. And what happens in your future will solely be determined by what you decide is going to happen in your future from this point forward. It should never, ever again be determined on what you've done in your past. Only the lessons that you've learned in your past. So here we have a circumstance where you did something in the past and you didn't follow through. Well, what that means is just make sure that doesn't happen this time. If this is important enough to you, if that doesn't sit well with you, if you're determined to create something bigger and better for your life, then you make sure that you handle that and you create an accountability system. You have an accountability partner. I will talk about that in the program. My intention is to teach you in the program everything that you may or may not have gotten in that other program that caused you to not follow through, because that's what I know. I know your success in Mary Kay doesn't have to do with your intellectual knowledge in Mary Kay. It has to do with your follow through. It has to do with your implementation. It has to do with everything other than your knowledge in Mary Kay. So it's not about me teaching you stuff you don't know. It's about me teaching you ways to implement things you already know that you haven't been implementing yet. Dr. Ivan Meisner, the founder of BNI, says true success is the uncommon application of common knowledge. I don't want you to seek more knowledge. I want you to seek the concepts, the ability, the support, the programs, the coaches that can help you implement and help you follow through. Please don't allow that story to keep you stuck for the rest of your life, because if you use that story for the rest of your life, Elizabeth, you can't win because you're always going to be able to say, well, remember that failure that I had back then? Remember that time that I tried and it didn't work? Don't for a second let your previous failures determine your future success, because you can't change your future success while you're holding on to your past failures. Please don't let that be a reason that you don't take a swing another time, that you don't join this program if this is speaking to you. Please don't let that past failure cement your future failure, because what I hear in your voice is I hear resignation. I hear resignation in your voice. I hear somebody who wants to give up on life because things didn't work out in the past. Please, please don't jump into the group of resignation. Please don't do that, because there's nothing but unfulfillment in the group of people that have resigned because their life is checkered with failures in the past. That's called life. That's called the way it is. Hey, if you want me to do a webinar on all of the things that I've failed in the past, it's going to be an overnight webinar. You're going to have to get your sleeping bag, because that's going to be at least 40 hours of nonstop, no interruptions, no breaks. If you want me to tell you about all the things that I've tried and failed at in the past, we can go there too. But I refuse to give those past failures the power over my future. I refuse to get knocked down and not get back up. That's what scares me about your comments. Please do not buy in to that feeling of resignation, because you, like most people, have failed a time or two in your past. If trying to succeed required that you never had any past failures, then nobody would ever again have the requirements fulfilled to try to succeed, because everybody has that in the past. It's how you relate to your past failures that's going to determine your future successes. So please don't allow that thinking to get in the way of what you're capable of. Okay, I don't see any other questions. I'm glad I caught that one so that I can address it. So we're going to sign off. I appreciate those of you that have been on for over an hour and a half now. If you joined us during the broadcast, you can watch the recording. You actually just go back to this page and watch the recording. And my intention and my hope is that you got something from this broadcast that helps you change the game in your life. I created the title intentionally. I want you to change foundationally the game. I want you to change everything. I don't want you to continue seeking more skill set. I want you to change your beliefs. I want you to change the foundation that you're building is based upon. And when you do that, everything can shift in your life. Everything can change in your business. Everything can become more enjoyable, and you can become world class. And if I have the opportunity to share that with you inside this program, even better. I take that as an honor. I look forward to those of you that have decided to join. Look forward to starting on October 15th. And for the rest of you, hopefully you've got some nugget that in some way will just help you live a better life, help you enjoy this journey a little bit more. So with that, everybody, good night. God bless. I'm Sean Smith. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.